Alright, I just have to pull up my notes. Cool. Alright. Alright, let me see here. I'm just looking over these again. Like, I just finished writing these down yesterday, and I'm just like, are these good? But for some of these games, like, I don't really have much to say. It's just, oh yeah, like I'm looking at my notes, and some of these are like pretty short, but it's also just kind of enough. Yeah. All right, cool, I guess. How's the wording on this thing? You know what? It's probably better. That's probably, I think that's better. Yeah. I didn't like, I didn't like the wording that was initially here, so I just think this works better for my situation. Or, for my personal preference, I'd say. Oh, man. Well, let's get crack-a-lackin', I guess. So let's see. Disclaimer. I did not end up so I recently played these games. I did not end up finishing all of them, but I did spend a good deal of time with all of them, so I do have a good sense of how these games are, in my opinion. Like, just, how fun or good they are. Pretty much. So some of these games I ended up beating in like less than an hour because they're short at the end of the day, but some of them are also pretty kind of confusing and junk. So I didn't end up finishing some of them, but it's okay. I put the time in. I put the time I could put into them. So anyway, let's go ahead and start with and I was about to say something about these games being universally kind of jank because they're on Game Gear. Something. I mean, I bring it up with some of these games, but that's kind of like a general thing with these games. They're just they're kind of rough. Because they're literally games made for this little handheld. So there's like frame rate issues with them, but it's not. I guess that's worth bringing up right now and not, for the individual game, unless it's like a really apparent issue. But, yeah, alright, man. I guess we're gonna... Oh. I guess let me do something first. Hang on. No, actually, I'm good. Okay. So, alright, let's start with Sonic 1. Where the heck is it? This doesn't feel like 12 games down here, but it is. Here it is. Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, it just goes here. Oh, by the way, tiers are going to be ordered as well, so, like, the tiers on the left of a category are like for example, okay, there's like a best okay and like worst okay. Yeah, gonna be doing that too. But yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 1, and also we're starting with the platformer games because that's just what I started with. So yeah, Sonic 1 it's kind of the how would I call it? The equilibrium force of the Game Gear games, maybe? It's fine, right? Like, it's it's fine. You know, it's simple enough. It's the first one. It's the first game released on the Game Gear. The first Sonic game released on Game Gear, anyway. Yeah, it's fine. Has Green Hill Zone amongst some other of its own zones. I did end up finishing this one in about 30 minutes. It's like really short, pretty easy. Has surprisingly good graphics for like their first attempt at a, 8-bit handheld Game Gear game. Now I am aware this was also a Master System. So I mean, there's like two versions of this. There's like Game Gear and Master System. But yeah, it's fine. Pretty simple game, pretty simple bosses. What's also interesting is like Sonic 1 on Genesis had special stages where you'd have to collect 50 rings to get to the end of the stage, touch the big ring, go to the special stage, yada yada yada. This game, you have to track down the emeralds within certain acts of zones. So, your first example, obviously, Green Hill Act 2, there's a Chaos Emerald just sitting within the underground portion, so you have to find it. And that's just how you get the emeralds, so you can get the true ending and all that junk. Yeah. It's just a really simple, like honestly, I almost want to put it in better than okay, just because of the state of some of these other games. But I just think it's okay. It's literally in the middle for me. Yeah. Let me see here. It has okay music. It has Green Hill Zone, but then, once we get to Bridge Zone, that's a pretty recognizable tune from the game, and then Jungle is pretty nice. What the heck? Was Labyrinth after Jungle? I think so. But Labyrinth Zone in Game Gear Sonic 1 is a different song. But at the same time, Labyrinth in this game is also Labyrinth, so we gotta deal with the underwater nonsense and all that. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Hit detection can be kind of jank on the bosses, which kind of goes for all these games. If they have a boss, like, yeah, hit detection can be jank. There's these bonus stages you could go to if you actually collect 50 rings and get to the end. But all you're doing there is collecting rings and 1-ups and junk. Maybe even a continue here and there. So I mean, yeah, those are all right. Those are those are all right. I didn't end up going there too much. Oh yeah, and the rings don't quite function the way you'd expect them to, because normally in a Sonic game, you collect rings. If you get hit, you could pick the rings back up. This game is like, okay, if you collect a bunch of rings, you get hit, and then it falls out of your body as one ring and never comes back. So you're kind of screwed if you get hit. I guess they didn't figure out picking rings back up on the Game Gear yet. Is there anything else? Let's see, the exclusive zones. After Scrap Brain, the game doesn't end, because then there's Sky Base. So there is actually an extra zone at towards the end, which is kind of neat. But yeah, Sonic 1, just okay. Pretty fun game. Not outstanding. It's just, I feel like it's just baseline, man. Because the thing with these platformer games is that they kind of evolve as we progressively get to the latest one. They just evolve. So yeah. Anyway, Sonic 2. Let's move on to Sonic 2. Where is Sonic 2? Right here. So this, I would also put in okay, but lower than the first game. There's things that I don't like about Sonic 2. Let me pull this up. Yeah. So the defining characteristics of Sonic 2 on Genesis is Tails. Tails would follow behind Sonic. Tails would assist in defeating enemies and bosses because he always mimicked your actions. You could also just play as Tails by himself. I mean, you couldn't make him fly in Genesis Sonic 2, but you could just play as a different character. I mean, yeah. And on top of that, the spin dash was introduced. You know, there's some pretty staple features introduced in Sonic 2 and Genesis that are not present in the Game Gear game, because the Game Gear game is basically Sonic 1 again. It's Sonic 1 again, but it's a bit more difficult. It's a lot more gimmicky too. So there's that. You know, because for example, there's like, what is the second stage called? Green Hills Zone? Which I'm like, dog, really? Green Hills Zone? Man. Yeah, in that zone, that's where you use the glider. Controlling that thing is not great, and there's actually a section in that stage, I think in the second act, where you are required to use the glider, and if you mess up with it, then you just fall into a pit of spikes and die. That's kind of not fun. Not to mention, and there's like, this is like an issue with quite a few of these games, but you know, because it's on Game Gear, the screen is really zoomed in. There's a lot of screen crunch. You know, so what I mean by that is like you're very zoomed in on the sprites, the character sprites, and it's like, because of that, every time you're like moving around and you're jumping, the screen is scrolling a lot, and also you're not able to react to things that are like below you or in front of you that well. So yeah, that's kind of an issue with this game. Most notably the first boss. I've definitely had a sour spot for this boss. The pincer and Eggman throwing the cannonballs down the slope. And it's like the cannonballs bounce and roll around at like random intervals each time. So it's like, yeah, it's pretty hard to deal with on a tiny screen like that. The tiny screen definitely makes the bosses a bit more difficult, especially that first one. I didn't find myself like getting past it a lot. And I mean, yeah, I know, skill issue, but still, like it's just freaking, it's kind of annoying to deal with. And I'm trying to think. You still have to hunt down Chaos Emeralds. There's no like special stages. I don't even think there's like bonus stages in this game either. Let me see, another thing. Yeah, the thing is, and this also makes the first boss pretty difficult. In conjunction with the screen crunch, you do not have access to rings. Like unless I'm forgetting, for the bosses in this game, you can't, like, you do not have access to rings. So you have to defeat the boss without getting hit each time. Now in Sonic 2 and Genesis, this sort of thing was not reserved. This thing was not done until Death Egg Zone, which made the final zone pretty brutal, because you had to defeat the Silver Sonic without rings, which you can figure that boss out pretty easily and beat him easily. But then it's once you get to the Death Egg robot without rings, it's like the most chaotic thing ever. If you didn't have any continues, then the game was probably cut short for you right there. This game, it's the case for every boss. It can be pretty easy to get hit due to the screen crunch and the jankiness of the Game Gear games overall, but it's like, for this game, the screen crunch and the no rings against bosses, it's just, it does not feel that much fun, in my opinion. So still an okay, I almost want to put it in not okay. Now after talking about this, like, I almost want to put it in not okay, but I'm just gonna keep it in okay for now, because it's mostly like Sonic 1. Just missing some things that would make it stand further apart from Sonic 1. You know, no Tails following you around, or even playable Tails. Tails is shown Tails is shown during the zone title cards of like Tails is shown adventuring around with Sonic, but the plot of this game is actually to rescue Tails because he got kidnapped by Eggman in the Crystal Egg Zone or something. Yeah, it's kind of weird. This is basically just Sonic 1, but kind of more janky and definitely a little more difficult. I will say the sprite work and the colors, the graphics are a bit more improved as well. But no, I think I prefer Sonic 1 over Sonic 2 overall. Let's move on. Yeah, Sonic Chaos. Sonic Chaos, I would actually put above. So this is this game almost feels like an apology for Sonic 2. I'm not even gonna lie. It feels like an apology or something, but nah, like so obviously the main thing here is playable Tails. Now the thing with Tails in this game is the thing with choosing Sonic and Tails in this game is like it's treated as a difficulty mode, right? Like Sonic is the normal mode, Tails is the easy mode. You would already say Tails is the easy mode in classic Sonic games because he can fly. He can fly over a lot of obstacles and like skip a lot of the level just flying around. But this game literally makes it a difficulty mode. So when you play as Tails, let me check my notes. Yes. So when you play as Tails, you get more starting lives and you get like 5 continues, which is actually crazy. I was kind of oblivious to this, I'll be honest, because like I wanted to check the manuals for the games like after I was done playing and just see like, you know, is there something kind of crucial that I missed? And yeah, like it just kind of flew over my head, pun not intended. But yeah, Tails is basically easy mode. Yeah, you start out with more lives, you get more you get a lot of continues at the start. Now the trait and also Tails flies. He flies by pressing up and jump on the ground. You can't like fly when you're already jumping, so I don't really like that control, but that's just how it is here. And that's how it is for like these Game Gear games in general. But the other big caveat is that Tails cannot access the special stages or get the Chaos Emeralds for the true ending. In the in the recent play session I had with this game, I did play as Tails just to shake things up a bit. And yeah, I was surprised after I read the manual, but yeah, it's kind of wild. Now aside from that, this is like the first. This is where they introduced sort of a blocky looking level design for the Game Gear games, at least for the platformers, of which I think it's just this and Triple Trouble that had like blocky looking levels. But we'll get to Triple Trouble in a moment. Sonic Chaos. Yeah, a lot of the levels look very blocky. It almost this game almost gives off sort of a, like in terms of the level design, it gives off sort of this homogeneous feel to the whole game because you're kind of just running around and you're breaking the blocks within levels. So you're just kind of running around seeing a bunch of blocks and just thinking, oh, can I break that? I guess I can. The idea is that these are a lot of trap-filled levels. There's a lot of hidden springs and a lot of breakable blocks. That's kind of the idea with this game. Let me see here. Yeah, okay. These Game Gear games have like okay music, but a lot of it is not super memorable. Like, I don't know, a lot of it just kind of goes by my head, or just like, you know, it slips past my mind, the music. The music in these Game Gear games like don't really strike me as like memorable tunes. You know, for the most part, there's obviously some exceptions. Oh, also spin dash. That's in, but it is that Sonic CD style where you have to hold the spin dash. You don't rev it up by mashing a button. You literally just hold down and just hold down the jump button and you're charging the spin dash and then you just go. Yeah, it's pretty much like that. I'm trying to think. Yeah, like the level design's just not that memorable. The levels can feel pretty short. I could end up like just bouncing on a couple springs. I'm just through the stages just like that. I would like I guess my reasoning for it being better than like Sonic 1 and 2 is because of playable Tails. It's also another graphical leap. Like they're just the graphical leaps just don't stop. Technically speaking. Yeah, the game does look pleasant. It's pleasant to the eyes. Nice sprite work. There's this bouncy spring. It's on the box art, but like it's fun to like mess around with. I can't bounce off of enemies though, which is kind of weird. Bosses. Yeah, the bosses do have like slightly more interesting design, I'd say. I think there's hang on a sec. Give me 1 sec. Wow, where's my notes? Okay. I was just thinking about one of the bosses that's like, I don't know if this is the right. Let me go look at this thing. I'll just shut that off for a moment while I go look at this. I probably should have wrote this down because I forgot whether the boss I'm thinking about was in this game or another one. Totally an expert note taker. Let me see here. Where is oh, over here. I just want to make sure that the boss I'm about to talk about is like in this game or was it a Triple Trouble? I can't even remember. I'm just gonna skim through this footage I have here. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, I got it. Yeah. I had to make sure the boss I was about to talk about is in this game. So, this is one boss that's like a freaking first it's like an onslaught of penguin robots, and then I destroy all of them, and then literally I'm like standing in the middle of the stage, and then it's literally just this egg drops from the middle of the sky and kills me. So then the next run, I destroy the penguins, I make sure to stay away from the middle of the screen, I destroy the egg, and then once I do that, I'm like standing in the middle of the screen again, wondering, okay, what's gonna happen next? And then literally one of the penguin robots just zooms in on me on freaking the left side of the screen, and then I just die from that. That was kind of a troll boss, to be honest. Man, that was kind of a troll. But yeah, I'd say the boss design is a bit more interesting in this game. Hang on. Okay. Do I have anything else here? Yeah, another graphical leap. I just mentioned this. Yeah, so because I play as Tails, I don't really have experience with the special stages, but yeah, I'd say overall this is a better platformer out of, between Sonic 1 and 2. This is a better one. Yeah, it's definitely better than okay, in my opinion. Okay, and now we get to Sonic Triple Trouble. This is regarded as pretty much the best Game Gear Sonic game, and you know what? I gotta say, man, it kind of is. It kind of is. I almost want, like, part of me just wants to stick it here because it is kind of more the same. I'll just put it up here for now. Maybe I'll change my mind later, but in terms of the platforming games, this is the best. Another graphical leap. Sonic and Tails are not treated as difficulty modes. Because again, Sonic Chaos, Tails couldn't even play special stages and junk. But now Triple Trouble, the characters are treated as equals. Tails still has that annoying up plus jump flight input, which I don't really like. There are some more mechanics, such as like if you're like rolling over water, you can like hold jump and just kind of skip. You can kind of skip the water, kind of like if you threw a rock at a lake and the rock just skips the lake like that. You could do that in this game. You literally just skip over the water if you hold jump, which is pretty neat. And then on top of that, let me see here. Sonic has the Strike Dash, which I didn't use too much, but it does grant a bit of invincibility when you use it through enemies. But to be honest, I just use the Spin Dash most of the time to get through enemies. I think that's just more practical. And the flying spin attack, when you bounce off of a spring, Sonic just kind of looks up and just kind of, it's like, wee, I'm off the spring, I'm looking up. Yeah, but the problem with that is that you're vulnerable to enemies, so you have to press jump again, and then he curls back up to a ball. And literally, this is like a necessary thing to do when you get to the first boss. The first boss literally requires you to use this technique, which is actually pretty interesting. It makes the first boss actually pretty interesting. Like, you can't just, because it's like a little the bug bagnik with a spring on top of it, but you have to bounce off that spring to get to the boss, but then you gotta press jump again to actually curl up and damage it. So it's interesting in that regard. Triple Trouble also continues like the kind of blocky style level design that Chaos established, but the levels don't feel as homogeneous, which is a good thing. The levels do feel like they stand out between each other, which is very nice. Music, it's not super memorable, but y'all know that Sunset Park Act 2, the latter part, exists. That's y'all already know that's like the song of the game. Like, come on, y'all already know the friggin' you get on the train, and then all of a sudden the main music stops, and then you get to that new music, and you got the little enemy gauntlet going on. Like, come on, it's pretty epic, honestly. None of the other platformer games do a thing like that. Like, I almost wonder, like, why the heck did they only do it for that stage and nothing else? It's kind of wild, really. Let's see. Knuckles is here. Knuckles is acting as an antagonist along with Eggman and Fang the Sniper, Knack the Weasel, blah blah blah. I mean, nowadays he's being called Fang the Hunter. I guess, Sega doesn't want the word sniper in the name of a Sonic character, which makes sense. Yeah, you probably don't want that these days. You don't want sniper. Yeah, you probably don't want that. Hunter's probably better. But yeah, Fang is here. Fang is also a part of the special stages, which, yeah, this game has honestly one of the most unique takes on special stages that I've seen from Sonic games. Because you don't just do the same thing. Like, each time you access a special stage, which, by the way, in order to access the one, you have to collect 50 rings. and then you have to find a item canister with a Chaos Emerald on it, and then once you break it with 50 rings, the little sparkly portal opens up, you jump in, and then you're taken into this, I don't know, this like other realm where Fang is, and there were like a few various things I had to do, like, you know, just run to the end. You know, the first one I played was reminiscent of like one of the bonus stages from Sonic 1 Game Gear, where, okay, I could collect rings, but I also gotta collect these little clocks because there's a bit of a time limit. And then once I get to the end, I encounter Fang, but Fang just pushes a button and friggin' obliterates himself or whatever, and then I grab the emerald and, you know, GG's. And then there's another one where I have to fly a plane in like a 3D setting and chase down Fang or something like that. And then like another one was like a boss fight. Like, wow, that's like, it's really different, man. That's a really different way to handle the special stages for a Sonic game. It's really interesting. I'm trying to think. I'm looking here. Yeah, how were I guess the bosses were okay. The bosses were definitely okay. They're probably on the same level as like Sonic Chaos, I would say. Yeah, Knuckles was one of the bosses. Knuckles was the boss in the water level. I'm just like, man, really? But Eggman gave him his own little machine to work with, I guess. So that's cool. Let me see here. Oh, there's so on the title screen you can scroll up or down to access like sound test or time attack respectively. Yeah, it's kind of neat to have a sound test without needing to like enter a cheat code. The time attack is weird though, because it's literally one unique stage that you play time attack through. Like I was literally like, man, are there any other time attack stages? I kept playing through the same one over and over. It is just that one stage, but I mean, it's fine. Nothing too crazy, but it is interesting to have like a completely separate stage dedicated just to time attack. Maybe there's more stages if I like play through the game and then go back to time attack and there's more stages. I don't know, but overall, Triple Trouble, it's easily the best out of the platforming games. It's a very nice game. One I could definitely see myself coming back to every now and again if I was in a Game Gear mood. I mean, if I was truly in a Game Gear mood, yeah, I'd probably boot up Sonic 1, but Sonic 1's not that interesting of a game. It's just like okay. Chaos is slightly better, but Triple Trouble is like it. Like that's like the peak Game Gear Sonic platforming game. You know, it's like it's just there. Also, Tails has access to like a vehicle in this game, but I did not play as Tails in my recent playtime of this game, so I'm not sure what that's like. That's something I would speak more of in Tails Adventure, but that's gonna be for a bit later. Anyway, moving on. I think I talked about Trouble enough. So now we gotta go. Oh my god. So now we have to go ahead and talk about Sonic Blast. And bro, this game is trash. Like, come on, y'all know. If you even seen a screenshot of this game, like, come on. If y'all even seen a screenshot of this freaking game, oh my god. What do I say? It is technically the most in terms of like graphical advancement, it is the furthest push because of the pre-rendered graphics, but at the same time it looks so rough. Oh my god, it's like a student project or something. Oh man, it's so not great looking, man. It's oh man. And then on top of that, the physics are so bad. Oh man. Oh my god. It does not feel finished. It does not feel finished. No way. Also, during my playtime, I play as Knuckles. His glide is pathetic. He drops like a rock, dude. Like, man, it's so... Oh man. Okay, let me get to my note. I'm freaking out internally. Let me get to my notes. God, the enemies look so, like, the sprites are huge and the enemies are so tiny. It's just so jarring looking. Very plain backgrounds. God, this looks like something. It looks like something I could like draw, and then like it just comes out like that. God. Levels can feel incredibly short, which I mean is like it's kind of a thing across the board with these games. I mean, Triple Trouble's levels do feel longer, but not in a bad way. Triple Trouble feels like a pretty substantial game, honestly. Blast is so rough, man. Bosses are like crazy dumb easy. Really, really dumb easy. Also jank. Like, you could still get hit. I guess I kind of like how when you get hit, you don't actually lose all your rings. I think you lose like 5 of them or something. So I mean, the game kind of goes easy on you, but like, I don't know, man. Like, and also, yeah, there's special stages. You gotta find like a big ring, and then literally the special stage is just literally you running. It's sort of like the half pipe stages where you just run forward. You collect like 50 rings or something, and then you get the emerald at the end. Yada yada yada. Freaking. Is there anything else? Oh yeah. Blue Marine Zone. Oh my god. This is where I stopped. Blue Marine Zone Act 1. I had to stop. I said earlier, like, man, the levels feel so short. And then this level comes up. It is like one of the worst stages I have ever played in a Sonic game. I could think of some other bad ones, like I mean, Labyrinth Zone's pretty synonymous with people in Genesis Sonic 1. And then the next one I'm thinking of like is like Frozen Factory Act 3 from Lost World 3DS. This one's pretty bad though. So you have to go underwater. Then there's like this section with the pipes. And they kind of make you flow in a certain direction without you, like, it's not visually clear, but they make you flow in a certain direction. So what you have to do is like once you're out of one of the pipes, you have to like you have to kind of stop yourself, like maybe jump and then move back. You have to like carefully do some platforming on these tiny little platforms. These tiny little platforms underwater, mind you. Underwater. You got this really precise platforming on this jank game to get over the flowing pipes. That took several tries. Like, I first had to figure that crap out. And then, you know, once I got past that, there was just more confusing pipe nonsense. I was just done, man. I spent way more time on that stage than I would have liked to admit. I was done. I would say playing as Knuckles made that a little easier because I could kind of influence my aerial momentum with the glide, but it's still rough, man. Oh my god. Yeah. This game definitely belongs in the rough pile. It's easily the worst out of all the platforming games. It's potentially the worst game. But we'll get back to like what's the most rough, like, worst game, like, later. Yeah. So that's Sonic Blast. Next, the Sonic Drift games. That's what I tackled next. So Sonic Drift. Let's just. Well, I guess I'll just do one at a time. By the way, these box arts, they look the same on this tier list, but this is Sonic Drift 1. This is Sonic Drift 1. It's not that great. It's a racing game. It's sort of akin to like Super Mario Kart, but it definitely doesn't handle like Super Mario Kart, because what ends up happening is you're driving forward, and then eventually some arrow signs come up, and it should like warn you, okay, here comes the curve, and now you gotta turn. So you try turning, and then what happens is you go off track. And then you're like, wow, what do I do? I'm going off track, I'm hitting signs and trees. Well, you gotta tap brake as you're like steering. It's just, it feels really rough. You're pretty much fighting against the track as you're driving. I mean, that's kind of that's kind of it. It's just not a great feeling racing game. Half the screen is taken up by a map and UI, which, granted, Super Mario Kart did this already. I'm trying to think. Is there anything? Let me see. Only 4 characters. I mean, it's kind of whatever. There's 4 characters: Sonic, Tails, Amy, Eggman. They all have their own abilities. So you collect 2 rings, and then you press up, and it's like Sonic gets literally a speed boost, which is kind of top tier. I mean, you could be in first place. You collect 2 rings, and now you get a speed boost. He's like, "See ya, suckers! I'm out." You know, Tails has a jump. Amy has a heart that, I don't know, disrupts you or something. Eggman's got a landmine that disrupts you. But Sonic easily has the best ability in the game. I mean, you just pick him over everyone else, really. That's my opinion. There's a fair number of tracks. Music is okay, but just not a great feeling racing game overall. That's just kind of how I feel. It's not like the worst game I ever played, but it's like, with the perspective of playing modern racing games, it's like, man. And then also, like, playing Super Mario Kart, yeah, it's definitely better than, like, Super Mario Kart's definitely better than, like, one of these, like, low poly racing games. But now we gotta talk about Sonic Drift 2, which is definitely above Drift 1. Not that much better, but it's like, okay, you've got more characters. You know, you got Knuckles and Fang and Metal Sonic. You got more tracks. I think it might be a placebo effect. The graphics do look a little better, and the handling does feel like a little better too. It feels a little better, but it's like, it's still Sonic Drift, so it's like, yeah. Drift 2's OST was, yeah, the music's better. The music's better. The music's better. I like the weather effects too. There's some little, there's some gimmicks on the track as well. There's like little hills. There's like a reverse, thing, a little, white ball with a red R on it that's like, it reverses your controls. There's even like dummy racers if you're like in first place, kind of like F-Zero. Yeah, it's better in that regard. Also, fun fact, freaking, this is so funny, but Arc System Works developed this game. The Guilty Gear developers, like, that's kind of funny. Despite all that, it still just feels like Sonic Drift 1. Yeah, man, this game was developed by Arc System Works. It was. Arc System Works also developed Tekken Advance. Or no. I think that was aiding, actually. That was aiding. But Arc System Works developed Sonic Drift 2. Yeah. You can look that up. Yeah, it's just, it's better than Drift 1. It's not, I just don't think it's like okay, because it's not like the first game I'd like pick up. It has more characters and junk and more tracks. It has like Salem. How do you say it's slalom tracks? So you just drive, it's like you just drive like straight on. It's like a 1 lap thing, but it's like from start to end. Pretty neat. There's tracks that don't have like ground off the track, so you could fall off on some of them. So a bit of challenge too. There's tunnels. There's half pipes. I guess that's what you call them. Like off the left or right, you kind of drive off these half pipes to left or right. Pretty neat. They did some neat stuff here. And also Metal Sonic is kind of busted. So Metal Sonic's ability is basically a better boost than Sonic's. It requires 3 rings instead of 2. But it's way faster. So if you actually manage to get 3 rings in your first place as Metal Sonic, GG's. You're just the best character in the game. Alright, yeah, that's Sonic Drift 2. Definitely belongs in the category with Sonic Drift 1, despite it being, like, better. Wow, we're actually more than halfway through. This is good timing, I'd say. If I end up spending like 5 minutes talking about each game, we'll be here for like an hour, but it's already coming up to the hour mark anyway, but it's like, whatever. We now have to talk about Sonic Labyrinth, okay? We gotta talk about Sonic Labyrinth. So when I made the video for the initial announcement for Sonic Origins Plus, you know, I was briefly describing all these games, and then during the tail end of that section of the video, I said I don't like Sonic Labyrinth. I just straight up said I don't like Sonic Labyrinth. I literally got one commenter, like they typed like a whole paragraph of why they think Sonic Labyrinth is like good. And then I'm just like, all right, man. I guess when I'm gonna play through this game again because I'm gonna do this tier list thing eventually, and I guess maybe my perspective will change. Because like, you know, I historically speaking, I just didn't like Sonic Labyrinth that much. Definitely not one of my favorites. Definitely not a lot of people's favorites. God. And I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but this game is okay. It's okay. It's like, God, it's like, I would say it's like above Sonic 2, actually. It's like, it's actually better than I remember. And I think it's because I actually sat down and really, I really sat down and like focused on this one. I didn't end up beating it because I got stuck on a level. Well, skill issue. But like, I did play through a lot of it. It's fine. Like I played it. I would play it again. I would. So the premise of this game is like Eggman stole Sonic's shoes. So now Sonic moves slower. He has to navigate through these isometric mazes and collect 3 rings and gets to the end of the stage. And it's like, yeah, it's like it feels fine. I mean, when I'm like sitting down, just like critically playing it. It's not like my first choice because you know I would normally pick like a platforming game, you know, as a GameCube game. But it's like this game is fine as long as you're not like rolling around all over the place. Like if you know when and where to stop and collect keys and walk around, it's fine. Some of the maze-like stuff was like okay to get past. The second level was confusing me a lot with the layout of the cannons and junk, but I got past it. There's more gimmicks such as doors you walk through and you start teleporting around areas. Yeah, it's fine, man. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. There's these let me see here. I'm just looking at my notes. Oh, this I mean, this is a specific flaw for those that are sensitive to flashing lights. But unfortunately, every time you collect a power up, the screen flashes a lot. So it's gonna make a rough day for some people if they're like sensitive to you know, flashing lights and colors and junk. Like the screen just like flashes all over, like all the time. You collect like any sort of power up. Yeah. And what else here? Yeah, pretty okay music. The boss theme, I kind of like the boss theme. I'm not gonna lie. I thought the boss theme sounded kind of cool. But the bosses at the same time are pretty weird, and they're both weird and easy. Like the first boss just felt like a regular boss, even though there was like a bit of an enemy gaunt. Or no, I think that was the case with all of them. Like I think all the bosses throw like obstacles at you, enemies and obstacles at the beginning, and then they reveal themselves, and then you go on and attack them. Yeah, I beat quite a few of them. They could definitely be taken out like pretty quickly if you know exactly where to hit them, and they're just vulnerable all the time. There's the level Land of the Sea or whatever it's called. There's this like clam boss that only reveals its weak spot like occasionally, like after it stops moving, it reveals its weak spot. I think that was kind of the most challenging boss. Either the first or that sea boss. You know, just but it was still like really easy to get through. God, one of the later levels, I was like really stumped on because it was really not clear to me as to how to beat it, and as it turns out, there was a moving platform on like the bottom left of the screen that I never saw. Like I never waited at a certain corner of the stage, but it was there, because I needed to get to like a particular part of the stage because there was like a whole platform where their key was, but there's these moving platforms that like once they move towards a particular location, they explode rather than moving back. So I had to look for another moving platform. I couldn't see it. It's not really a flaw, but I was just like, oh, this level got me. Funny joke. Yeah, some cheeky level design. It's fine, man. I think this game's fine. I think this game is like fine. It's like whatever. Better than Sonic 2. I picked this one up again. Like it's fine. Right. Now we get to the games that don't even have Sonic in the title. Yeah, that boss theme music is pretty good. God, it almost makes me wonder if someone did a remix on it. It's not like one of the best songs I ever heard in my life, but it's like fine. Anyway, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. I mean, it almost goes. It's not an outstanding game. But it's like, come on, it's Puyo Puyo. I mean, if you ever played Puyo Puyo, freaking like Puyo Puyo Tetris, like any of these like Match 4 Bean puzzle games, like that's what this is. That's what it is, and it's a solid version on Game Gear. You know, you got you got all the various stages and the challenge and all that. Like the stages eventually get faster and more difficult. Just a very fun puzzle game. It obviously does not have much of the presentation of the Genesis game, but at the same time, it does have an extra mode being the puzzle mode. And what this is like, it presents itself as the Mean Bean Machine manual. It acts as a tutorial. It acts like a tutorial. It kind of shows you like, okay, this is kind of what you should aim at doing when playing the game. They're just like, oh, clear all these red beans, and then it just shows you the layout of red beans, and you clear it. Okay, now clear these amount of beans in like a row. So now the game is teaching you how to do combos and teaching you how to do like the what is it called, the staircase chain thing, and like the sandwich chain thing and all that. Like that's something the Genesis game actually lacks. I mean, granted, the Genesis game has like the head-to-head music. I don't recall if that music is in the Game Gear version, but that music is pretty fire. I'm not gonna lie. Oh wait, I skipped Spinball, but no, I'll get the Spinball though. I'll get the Spinball. It's fine. I'll get to it. I'm still talking about this though. I was like, oh, that's it for the games that don't have Sonic in the title. I forgot to talk about Spinball. What else? Yeah, good puzzle game. 2-player mode in Sonic Origins Plus. You can you know, there's like a separate selection for the head-to-head mode, so you can just play with Buddy or something. I don't know, to play freaking Game Gear Mean Bean Machine. I mean, freaking these days you could just buy like an online game and just play it like that. But if you just want to do local Game Gear, I guess, sure, whatever. Yeah, puzzle mode's neat. It has exercise mode. Yeah, that's about it. It's Mean Bean Machine on Game Gear. I don't have much else to say on it. There you go. And now we talk about Spinball, which I completely skipped. But yeah. Oh yeah, this game is oh, it is rough. Oh, it is so rough. Is it worse than Blast? Is it worse? Man, this is something I've had to think about this. Is this worse than Blast? It's very, very rough, actually. Let's talk about it first. Horrendous physics. Horrendous. Both on foot and the pinball physics, they are horrendous. You will go flying so far in an instant. Like, it's hard to describe. Man. So first of all, the goal in the stages for Spinball is to collect a certain amount of Chaos Emeralds. The early level, like it has like 4 levels. The first couple you gotta collect 3, and then make it to the boss room and then defeat the boss and move on with your life. And then, go to the special, go to the bonus stage. But man, first of all, confusing level design. Now, but before my recent play session with this game, I have beaten this game before. I did. And I found it to be, and even during the recent playtime, I just found it to be pretty confusing. I mean, no, I think I found it to be confusing the first time around. This time around, I guess I remembered some stuff. Like, in Toxic Caves alone, like, you need to collect these little blue items that are like, they're kind of placed in like corners of the stage. You have to somehow navigate Sonic into those tiny little items to like drain the toxic slime out of the chamber where the first emerald is. And then once you're done with that, you gotta kind of navigate him through the tunnels, the pipes to the other sections where you have to get the other emeralds. And it won't be inherently clear as to how to open certain obstacles, and there's these little parts with the snakes coming out of the holes, and you gotta destroy them to bust this door open. That feels very rough on this version of the game compared to the Genesis one. I would say the Genesis game physics are like, they're not great either, but they're like miles better than this game. Yeah, it can be very unclear on what to do. At times, I'm trying to think. Yeah, it can be unclear as to where the boss room is. Like, it doesn't look that distinct. Like, it just looks like some other little hole you would go into in this game. And then it's like the bosses are so freaking lackluster, man. Like, man, they don't really fight back. They kind of sit there and wait to die. That's it, man. Like, I think the final boss actually tried to do something, but not much. Maybe that's just hard to balance in a freaking pinball game. Yeah, the bosses just suck, man. There was, I mean, granted, I don't think there was a lot of fighting back in the Genesis game either, but at the same time, it felt pretty satisfying to destroy, like, the first boss. There was, like, this wild explosion, all this boom, blah, blah. You go under the tail of the egg scorpion, and then you keep hitting it, and then it just blows up in a million pieces and junk. Like, that's pretty awesome looking, I'm not gonna lie. But this Genesis game this Game Gear game has, like, none of the impact. Yeah. And then it's like what made the bad physics really apparent was the bonus stages, because you do those on foot, and it does not feel like a classic Sonic game whatsoever. You're navigating Pinball Sonic on foot through these bonus stages that are reminiscent once again of the Sonic 1 Game Gear game. You gotta like collect rings and junk, maybe destroy some little enemies or whatever. To bust the entryway open for the next section to like get through the whole thing. It's just a bonus. It's just a bonus mode for collecting rings and maybe getting some 1-ups, I guess. Some continues maybe. Unfortunately, this version does not have the bonus stage where you actually play on like a pinball table in the Genesis version, and literally the Freedom Fighters from like the Archie comics / the Sonic Sat AM show up. Like that doesn't happen. What kind of stings is that, because I actually beat this game for the recent playthrough. The pinball machine shows up at the end. It's not the same pinball machine, but it shows up at the credits. Like, oh look, it's a pinball machine. You ain't playing that though. And then like the later two stages, like the first two stages require you to collect 3 emeralds, but then the later 2 stages require you to collect 5, and you're just bouncing around all over the place. It's really unclear as to where they are. You just gotta like bounce all around, try not to die. Hope like I found myself accidentally running into the emeralds, so that's just kind of how I got through the game. I was just running into stuff by accident. Yeah, pretty rough game. There are some. There are some. Let me see here. What did I write down here? Yeah, the fact that it is 4 levels long is a plus. It's short. at least I'm not going through. At least I'm not going through it that much. And then the other plus is that it doesn't have the options menu music from the Genesis version. It's actually mute. There's actually no music on the options menu in the Game Gear game. That's fine. That's okay. I guess that does put it above Blast. Sure, why not? But yeah, there you go. The Game Gear Sonic Spinball. It's freaking rough, man. That's a rough video game. I don't know if I said this before, but the overall music kind of sucks. It's really muddled and like really it just goes past your mind. It's just really forgettable, man. Does not have the sick beats like Toxic Caves on a Genesis, or even Lava Powerhouse on Genesis. Lava Powerhouse on Genesis does sound pretty good. Not here though. Not here. Is there anything I'm forgetting about this game? No. I think I pretty much got that out the window. All right. So now we gotta talk about the Tales games, okay? And this is where we talk about Tales Sky Patrol. This is the next game I tackled. Ended up finishing it pretty short. I would put this in okay, but above or below Sonic 2. I just don't like Sonic 2 on Game Gear that much. Like, but Tales Sky Patrol is such a man. It's such a, I mean, it's different, right? It's like, it's a 2D on-rails flying game. You play as Tails, you gotta go after these weird-looking characters you've never seen before. Main boss is like a witch. I don't really have the full plot synopsis for this game, but basically, yeah, that's basically, yeah, it's like a really, the game gives off a really cutesy vibe. You know, really cutesy music and graphics. Which, you know, despite being cutesy, it is nice. It is a nice game to look at. Nice sprite work. Now, because it's an on-rails game, there was some, I had to get used to this a bit. You know, you gotta like slow down and speed up at certain times. Tails has this ring which can hook onto the objects and junk. There's like balloons that can make him fly upward without that. Because the other thing is that this game is like an auto scroller, so you can die by touching walls or getting crushed by walls in the camera, but also yeah, you do die by touching walls and the ground, which kind of sucks. And I think even the ceiling. I think you die by, yeah, you can't touch walls, the ground, or the ceiling in this game. You just die. And also there's like a fuel system. So you have limited fuel because, you know, Tails is using his tails to fly through the whole stage. He's probably getting tired, so you gotta pick up these mint candies so that he can actually keep flying. I'm trying to think. The ring is also a weapon. It's used to defeat enemies. You can spin it around Tails. It doesn't act like a shield, but sometimes you want to spin the ring around so that you don't accidentally hook onto things. But yeah, this game is overall fine. There's some really annoying obstacles, like these like quickly appearing orbs. These brown orbs that just appear like all of a sudden. They just multiple brown orbs. They appear all of a sudden. You're like not aware of the pattern. You try to navigate it by destroying some with the ring and moving a bit faster, but you're just gonna die unless you know exactly where the blind spots are. So I mean, that's that. Let me see. Yeah, I didn't read that issue. I've been kind of behind the IDW comics, to be honest. I gotta get back on that. Let me see. What other notes do I have? Yeah, nice. Good music. It fits the vibe. Not my favorite music, but it's good music. I'll acknowledge that. Yeah, it has like it has like a tutorial level. It's not, I mean, the game doesn't straight up say, oh, this is how you do this is how you do that, but like, it has, the first stage acts as a tutorial, and then the subsequent stages, at the end of each of them is one of the boss characters. And those stages are a little more challenging than the tutorial stage, obviously. The bosses are a little awkward to fight because you can easily bump into them, and then Tails will be sent crashing down, and you gotta like mash buttons so that he actually goes back to flying again. And if you touch an enemy while you're also close to like the ground, yeah, you're just dead. That happened to me several times actually. I would travel at like normal pace, and I touch an enemy and I just die. But you know, I guess that's also because I get a bit greedy. I'm trying to hit the enemies like multiple times because there's just an opportune time for it. The enemies tend to throw a lot of little projectiles that can, you know, interrupt your flight. Let me see. Anything else I wrote about this? Not really. This is it's a pretty okay game. It's the only game here that's like an on-rails game. Very short. I think it's like 5 levels long, but I say it's very short, but the levels feel kind of long. I guess that's because of the pace. I guess that's because of the pace of the levels overall. There's a lot of times where you gotta hook onto one of these twirly things and backtrack, or you know you gotta latch onto a weight to travel to like a lower path because there might be candy on the lower path. And if you don't collect the candy, you're gonna run out of fuel and just fall down and die. Yeah. Otherwise, pretty okay game. I'm still not sure if I put it over Sonic 2, but we'll look over all the games and replacements at the end and see if I change my mind on anything. Ugh, wow. So finally, God, and you know what? I have like the most notes about this game too. And here's another thing, right? Like, I gave myself a time limit of like an hour with each of these games. I ended up spending less time on a lot of these games, but I figured an hour, at least an hour, I would just, you know, that'd be good for me in terms of playing these games. Because to be honest, I got other things to do, man. Got a YouTube channel to run. Yeah, Tails Adventure. Man, I almost want to put this game in like outstanding, but below Triple Trouble, to be honest. But it has a lot of flaws, so I almost want to put it here. I almost want to like keep it right here. So okay, Tails Adventure. This is essentially a Tails Metroidvania. That's what this is. Basically, Tails is taking a vacation at this island, and he's got to fight and then some bird people invade. I don't know where they come from. Some alien bird people or something. But like, yeah, the bird people invade. They burn a whole forest, and Tails is like, "Oh no, what do I do? I'm on vacation!" Ah! And then he just like literally like goes into the forest with like bombs, and just goes on and defeats the birds with bombs. And you know, pretty much it's just you're navigating area to area. You're finding items that can help you get through certain parts of each area in order to find more items until you eventually get to the final confrontation and, you know, beat the game. Tails feels very slug. Well, no. Before that, actually, this is probably the most. Man, is it? This is probably like graphically the best game on this list. It probably is. Especially in concern with like, especially in concern with like the sprite work, the animations. Tails' sprite animation in this game is like, it's kind of crazy, right? This man Tails has like ledge grabs and like all these little like idle animations and junk. Like they put so much. I don't know why they did it though. They put so much care into this game. It animates pretty well. Even the bird enemies animate like pretty okay. There's these tiny bird enemies that animate like little karate dudes. Like, man, what the heck? Like, why they do it for this game? I guess truly they wanted to make a Tales adventure. But yeah, I feel like this game has the best graphics out of all these. I'm like super tempted to just put it up with Triple Trouble. I feel like this is kind of it. Let's see. Gameplay wise, yeah, Tails feels kind of slow. He kind of trots along the ground. He doesn't really move as fast as he would in like a platformer game, which it probably makes sense due to the genre. But then again, I don't know. I think did Super Metroid exist before this game? Because like Super Metroid's like Samus moves pretty dang fast in that game. But I guess the Game Gear wouldn't be able to handle that. Even though you could collect a Speed Boots power up, a Speed Boots item in the game, which essentially gives you a run button, which I did not end up using much. Like pretty much the most useful items are the remote robot, the hammer. Those are like the best items, and like just having a bomb on you. Like you pretty much want to have those on you all the time, and then maybe something else for specific situations. Let's see here. Not too much music. It does sound fine. It's definitely good music. There just isn't that much of it. In particular, some areas use the same music, but you can find a radio item, and when you actually equip that, you can actually change the music. Within an area, you could change a later area's music into the first area's music if you want. But that kind of feels like a waste of a slot because, like, one of my complaints about this game is that you only get 4 item slots. There's like over 20 items. Well, when you take away the Chaos Emeralds, which the Chaos Emeralds, so God, I could almost make an entire video talk about this game alone because there's just too much going on in this game. But it's like, yeah, you gotta collect the Chaos Emeralds to power up your like flight meter and health, which yes, health. The rings act like health. You do not lose you lose rings when you get hit, but you don't get to pick them up. It literally acts like health in this game. Like not like the rings in platforming games. It is literally just health. And let me see the Chaos Emeralds. So initially when you start the game, you're like flight meter, which yeah, you have a flight meter. It's pretty low. Tails can't fly that much. Then you collect the emeralds, and then you end up increasing the flight meter gauge as well as your maximum rings. So you could get up to 99 rings maximum health, and you're just pretty good at that point. They do balance this game with Tails flight because while you can fly around a lot of places, some areas blow wind. Some areas blow wind like down towards you when you're flying, so you can't. So there's some areas where you can't just fly to actually progress. You actually have to like do some platforming or some puzzle solving and just kind of navigate carefully around some areas. You gotta use the remote robot to like move some items so Tails can actually like get a boost up to some areas or whatever. And I guess another oh god, right. The backtracking, that kind of sucks, man. So so the thing is with the items, yeah, you can only carry 4 items. It's like 20 plus items you can equip. When you collect a new item while your slots are full, you can't like equip that item and maybe replace something else. You literally have to go back to Tails' house and just equip the new item and take away something else. But if you're like deep into an area, you have to get out of there yourself. There is a teleportation device. I did not find that on my playthrough, which, yeah, I did end up beating this game because I put way too much time into it for this video. I just have straight up footage of me beating the game. But yeah, I'm assuming the teleportation device would help with that, but without it backtracking sucks. You literally have to find a way to exit the stage. There could be some bombless pits that get you out easy, so that's okay. And what else? So it could be unclear. It could be unclear to figure out how to get past certain obstacles. So first area has like this gray wall, but it has like a gray wall in this like lower area, and you need napalm bombs for it. You wouldn't know that unless, I don't know, you collect the napalm bombs eventually. Maybe you're thinking, I'll go back and try that and see if it breaks this. And if it does, and like, let's say an area like that is deep into a level, and then you go all the way over there and you try to test it, like, oh, does it break this? I guess not. Well, I gotta get out of this place. I don't have the teleportation device. I gotta like mosey on out of here. And that coupled with Tails' slow initial movement speed, it kind of makes things feel pretty tedious. But this is overall a Tails adventure. Pretty nice adventure, I'd say. There's items for specific situations. Eventually you unlock, I think, what is it called? The Sea Fox or something? So you get that eventually, and then that's basically your submarine. You're navigating around Lake Rocky. There's like a bunch of paths you could go through to get to, there's like an upper path you could get to, like a boss. I guess I should talk about the bosses. Bosses are okay. Sort of very. There's like a couple of them that are mechs that you just gotta like fly over and beat. Look at that. They can definitely anti-air you though. They could absolutely anti-air you because yeah, this game is absolutely designed around Tails' flight. But yeah, Lake Rocky has like a bunch of paths to like certain areas, and then within the other areas themselves, you can find power up. There's like separate items for the Sea Fox. It's not clear initially because I collected an item called anti-air rocket. I wasn't sure if I could equip that myself or if that was for the vehicle. It was for the vehicle, but the game doesn't tell you that. The Sea Fox can equip its own 8 items. Yeah, that it ranges from like weapons to like other gear, like extra armor, which by the way, a couple of the items up for the Sea Fox are like Zap and extra armor. Those are busted. Zap is basically a screen clearing move as long as you're underwater, because once you get the Lake Crystal, you're basically navigating up a river, so you can't really use Zap there. But underwater with Zap, you could destroy everything. You don't have to use like a Vulcan gun, which is like it's like the first item you get. So you can just shoot things, but Zap literally annihilates like nearly everything. But yeah, vehicular navigation's okay. Let me see. What else do I have here? Yeah, okay. And just like any other Game Gear game, hit detection sucks, and also, yeah, hit detection sucks. Also, really, really cheap enemy placement. There's like these bats in these levels. And sometimes I'm like jumping up to like ledge grab on these platforms, but these bats will hit me no matter what. Even if I try going off to the side, they're gonna fly up and frickin' hit me and knock me back down. So I have to, like, that's why the hammer is like one of the best items in the game, because you can jump and then swing the hammer to anti-air them, and then you can like potentially ledge grab. And yeah, there's some really awkward navigation around the game, but it's overall a really outstanding game, as the list says. I think it is outstanding. I think it's like, man, I think I'd have a better time with this game the second time through. The first time was pretty rough. I did have to like glance at a guide. I didn't use a walkthrough to like beat this game, but like I glanced at the guide because there were certain parts I was really confused by. Like there's one section, no, actually there's a couple sections. One in the, I think it's like the Cavern Island, or like, no, Mount, what's it called? Mount Poly 1? Yeah, Mount Poly 1. There's a wall that looks breakable, by like a bomb or something. So I kept trying to like throw a remote bomb at it, and it doesn't break. I tried swinging the hammer at it, it doesn't break. As it turns out, I needed the large bomb. It's not clear that I need the large bomb to break through that wall. But behind that wall was like another, thing for the, Sea Fox. Oh man, and then there's like another there's another wall within the like the volcano cavern or something. I need a big bomb there as well, but it's like it's really unclear. It's like really, because it just looks like any other thing you could break, but it's not. So you have it really is a trial and error kind of thing. I guess sort of like a Metroid game, but like I don't know. I just didn't like how it looked like. I didn't like how some walls look like things I could break by myself already, but it actually wasn't. You know, because like in like obviously more recent like Metroidvania games, it would like there would be a very clear indicator like, oh, this wall is orange. I can break these green walls. I can't break that orange wall yet. I will come back to that when I have a later ability. But this game's just like, nope, we're just gonna make it look the same. And yeah. Anything else here? Yeah. No. Yeah, I've already talked about that. I talked about that too. Talked about that. Oh, you can actually press jump in the air. Unlike the other Game Gear games, you can actually press jump while you're in the air to fly. You can't do that in like the platforming games. You have to press up and jump while grounded to fly. I kind of hate that. I kind of hate that input. So it's nice that Tales Adventure actually has like the sort of proper input. You don't have to mash jump though. You just kind of fly. Yeah. I think this game's outstanding. It's flawed. That's why I put it below Triple Trouble. But it's like, I think I have all these games. It's like really outstanding. I would play it again now with the knowledge I have to just like navigate through properly. Also, you can collect items based on Tails' friends, like, you know, Sonic and Knuckles, and well, Fang's not really a friend, but the Sonic item in particular is really busted because it lets you do a spin dash, and like you could even charge a spin dash in the air and just break through blocks and destroy enemies. Like, yeah, that's kind of crazy, busted. That's like one of the best items in the game for Tails. Yeah, that's kind of a side note. All right. So now looking over this list again, I definitely talked a good deal about Tales of Adventure, but let me see. Do these things actually belong here? I would say, yeah, I'd say rough is accurate. Yeah, Sonic Blast has terrible physics, man. Spinball has probably worse physics, but the game's shorter. It's kind of confusing, but it's shorter, so I could just get through it. The Sonic Drift games are not great racing games. Takes some getting used to. Drift 2 is better. Yeah, it is. I guess the okay pile is where I, like, where do I... Yeah, I really do like Sonic 1. I do. Labyrinth, I have a newfound appreciation for. I don't think it's I don't think it's better than okay. I don't think it's better than okay. Sonic 2 is just... It's just Sonic 1, but it has things I just don't like about it. It has things I don't like about it. That's why it's like below. Tails Sky Patrol is not a game I prefer to play. That's why it's lower. I almost want to put it higher than Sonic 2. So I might just do that. Which is kind of crazy for me to think, but... I don't think Sonic 2 is like a not okay game. Chaos, Mean Bean Machine. Yeah, those are fine there. Should Chaos go above Mean Bean Machine? Maybe not. Maybe not. You know what the problem is? I played through these platformer games like each time in a row, and I think that kind of affected my judgment on them because I just felt like I was playing the same game over and over, but it was just getting slightly better until it just crashed into being something really bad. But no, I think this is kind of where I'm feeling with these games. Yeah. This is kind of where I'm feeling with them. I think so. All right. I guess I'll do it. That'll do it for this tier list. Yeah, the Game Gear games overall are like okay. Obviously the Genesis games have the leg up on them, but yeah, man, it's the Game Gear games are kind of in a rough state just because of the hardware they're on, but there's some diamonds in the rough. Yeah, there's some diamonds in the rough, I'd say. All right. Yeah, I guess I'll do it for the stream too. This was pretty. Yeah, this was something I definitely had to take care of, but yeah, I'll need to go ahead and edit this into a proper video, because streaming this was to get some chat interaction in with the tier list. So that's pretty nice, even though it was like one person who chatted, but it was still fun. It was still fun. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and peace out. This was pretty fun to do. It was the first tier list I ever done, really. I felt that this was something I could actually judge. Unlike fighting game characters, that's like well, maybe I could do that someday, but this is not the day. I have many tasks ahead of me. So yeah, I'm gonna hop out of here. I'll see y'all in another stream / video. Yeah.